What's up, guys? Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode. Hopefully, this thing is going to work. It looks like it's doing the same thing again. Smitty is telling people that it will be starting soon. Let me check this. Give me a second. I think we're rolling. There we go. All right, guys. So we're rolling. Welcome back, man. Sim Standard Hangout Ep.126. Hopefully, this will be a great show. I say hopefully because I got a feeling this show is going to take an interesting turn. Reason being, you guys know, we just had a monumental, I don't even know if I want to say it like that, but we had a rather interesting election. I've voiced my opinion. I've lost about 50 subs because of it. I don't care. And I'm sure some people are going to touch on that here in the show. But just to let you guys know what this show is going to be about, we definitely want to talk about the history of gaming, and shout outs to you guys out there that gave us some of the topics. And I actually wanted to be this way every week. If we have hot topics that we want to talk about, we'll dive into it. Excuse me, but I would love for you guys to start saying, hey man, I would love for y'all to talk about this. We'll do it. Like you always know, it's an open invitation for you guys to come on the show. So we'd like for that to happen as well. But we're going to talk about the history of gaming. And primarily, from the perspective of where we are now, how we got here, if we appreciate what we have as gamers, or do we expect a little too much? And like I said, do we appreciate what we actually have? We'll definitely talk about Colin Kaepernick, man. I want to touch on him not voting. We'll give our thoughts on that. Does it contradict his whole stance? Does it make him look like a hypocrite now? Like someone like Stephen A. Smith said. Also, we'll breeze over the election. I don't want to spend time on that too much. My thoughts, if you want to know how I feel, the video is up. You can check it out. But we will talk about it and how it's actually even affecting gaming. Because I want to share with you guys a story of some things that's been happening to me since the election while I'm playing the PlayStation. We'll talk about that. And then, of course, the recurring topic every week, if we get to it, Madden. Anything about Madden 17. If something comes up and we go into it, we seem to always touch Madden on this show. So I'm going to always start labeling that as the reoccurring topic. I definitely know one of you guys, I believe it's ML. He knows who he is. He wants to come on the show. He wants to talk about 2K. He didn't get a chance to come on last week. So if you're listening now, whenever you're ready, we'll bring you right in. But, of course, we want to go ahead and give our quick introductions. I'll throw it to Smitty. Azure, he's running late as far as working tonight, so he may or may not be on. That's more important. So we understand that. But, Smitty, man, how was your week in terms of the Lions and whatever else? And like I said, we'll dive into the election stuff when we get to that topic. I don't want to spend a ton of time on that, even though I know it's on our minds. It's on a lot of people's minds, but we'll designate that for that segment. But what else has been going on, man?
Nothing too much. You know what I'm saying? Got to give it up to the Lions. Matt Stafford definitely is coming through, showing that clutch gene. I mean, really, I'll say this much. If it comes down to it and the Lions get into the playoffs, if they make it, they get into the playoffs, and it's one of those late game situations, they're definitely battle tested for that. So they'll be ready. You know what I'm saying? They'll definitely be ready for whomever it is they play, if it gets to that situation. But they came through, man. I mean, hey, they've been coming through on some of these top teams and everything. And I mean, you could say that coaches are bad or they're missing personnel or whatever the case may be, but the Lions are hanging. You know what I'm saying? So once again, you got to give it up to the coordinators, Jim Bob and Terrell. I mean, you got to give it up to those guys, man. They're putting in that work. And on the offensive side, and I mean, they got this bye week coming up, so hopefully we could get some pieces back, some key guys back, and also, Matt Stafford need to go ahead and take that offensive line out to dinner or something like that, because them cats, the coaching staff included, I mean, they are doing a great job. with the talent and making it work. That's kind of stuff they need in Madden. Real talk. You need to have those you need to have the coordinators in the game, just like you got assistant coaches and all that in 2K. You need to have offensive, defensive coordinators, and they actually make an impact in terms of how they mold the team and how the players actually progress. Because now, and I mean, I know I'm kind of feedbacking a little bit, but it's just, just thinking about off the top, like that's something that you don't have in Madden necessarily. It's more like the coach's presence is more or less a face. It's not really, you could have whatever coach you got on the sideline, but he has no real, like the impact is not truly there. You know what I'm saying? Or it's not felt. Like it should be felt week to week. Coach chemistry, team chemistry, stuff like that. But that's the kind of stuff they need. They need that in Madden. You got team chemistry in 2K, but you need to have that chemistry going between both. So, but all in all, that's good. And the Pistons, they're doing all right. They're doing all right for starting out right now. They need some we need Reggie Jackson. We do need Reggie Jackson back. I mean, Ish, don't get me wrong, I appreciate Ish. I like what he's bringing to the table, but we need, he's our backup. We can't have him as a starter. We need him, like I will say this. Him playing right now will definitely help. It'll definitely help him be a more well-rounded guard coming off the bench to lead the second unit. But we need Jackson out there for the first unit, real talk. I mean, he's not bad, but that size, he's 6'3". Ish Smith is like, barely tipping at 6. So we need that size out there to make it happen. I'm mad we gave up Dinwiddie, though, because that would have been perfect. He's a 6'5" point guard, and we gave him away. But nevertheless, though, we get Jackson back, and he gets into the fold as far as the team chemistry is concerned, and then they'll be good to go. At least I believe, they'll be a solid team to progress and build on. So, but I'll throw it back to you, Sim.
Yeah, and I was laughing, man, because it's weird. When he was with us, I mean, for a year, they were saying his name was now. Because remember last week I said no, his name is Ish. Now they calling him Ish. So I don't know. Maybe the Sixers do everything else wrong. Maybe they was pronouncing the man wrong all year. Pronouncing the man's name wrong the whole year. I thought his name was Ishe because that's what they was calling him, but it is Ish. But yeah, I wish we still had him, man. And before I even go into the Steelers, the Sixers, they look like they did last year. It's funny, man. I tweeted out last night. As I was watching their game. Points. It's just that fourth quarter, man. I mean, I know a lot of teams could say that, but it's the truth with those Sixers. They got a lot of young talent. I know, you look at them and you think, okay, not this year, maybe next year, maybe next year. Crazy if you're a Sixers fan or if you watch them play, they can score points. I mean, these dudes are scoring 100 points or so. They'd be right there. They had the Pacers. They had them beat. They had so many opportunities. They go into overtime and they fall apart. It's crazy, man. But it's frustrating to see that because it's like I can't say that the team sucks. You know what I mean? It's different when you can look at a team and say they just suck. They don't play good. They don't do this. Now, granted, things that they don't do well. We don't have a legit point guard, number one. We don't really have a legit number two, to be honest. All of our players that can score are either at the 3 spot, the 4, and now with Embiid being at the, playing the 5, we got a lot of talent in there. When you think of, even somebody like Hollis Thomas that comes up big this year, he's scoring. You got my man Covington, that's my guy. Even in 2K, that's my go-to guy. Embiid, you got Okafor, you got Noel. I mean, you got talent. But the guard spots, suspect. Not the starter. But we'll see, man. I mean, I'm not expecting much out of those guys. As y'all know, I'm looking for my son, and I knew it. He's coming right now. Be quiet, okay? Man. Nothing new. I've been telling y'all, man. I don't think we are a great team. Hold on, be quiet, okay? We are a great team. Do we have the potential to? Yeah, they did last year. Do we have the potential to possibly win the division? Yes. And I'm saying that even after. The reason why I can say that, and I know if Dez is listening to the show, he probably will agree. Stop. The Ravens are not dominating. The Steelers are not dominating. The Bengals are not dominating. That division is almost. Hold on, guys. Y'all give me just a second. Be quiet, okay? I'm gonna have to deal with this, guys. I told y'all, but okay, hold on. But the thing with the Steelers is they are such a streaky team that they could get hot at any given time. But it's going to come down to that defense. I don't trust them all the way, even though I like Artie Burns, man. He gave up a touchdown. You know, he's playing a slant. He played it a little too loose. Mike Wallace with the speed. Mike Mitchell can't make the tackle, 95 yards. But I like that kid, man. He got his interception. He's always around the ball. If you notice that he's always there. He's never really beat from what I've seen. He's going to be special. But I'm just not confident, man. I mean, the way the Steelers play, Smitty, I wouldn't be surprised if Dallas comes in there and they win that game, because it seems like when it's a good team, they show up. When they play teams that's middle of the road or under 500, they can't beat them teams, and it baffles me. It's like, you know, Dr. Heckle and, you know, Mr. Hyde. It's like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. I know I'm saying the name wrong, but it's like, so I don't know. I mean, like I said, they could possibly sneak their way into playoffs, but I ain't got no aspirations. I just like to see them have a decent season. I would rather not see a losing season. But that's really all I got on that, man. So we'll see what happens come this week. But like you said, man, the Detroit Lions are looking pretty good, you know, doing better than most people would have thought. And shoot, that division is up for the grabbing too. I mean, the Packers don't look like they beasting nobody this year. So interesting. But all right, guys, man, we'll go ahead and get right into it. You know, definitely let's see what you guys are saying in the chat, because I think I want to go ahead and bring my man in here. Okay, he said he's finishing up a game. So once he's done, we'll bring him in and let him talk about 2K. So I guess, Smitty, man, the first thing on the docket, I don't want to start off with that, you know. We don't want to scare people away. So let's go to something else, and then we'll come back to the whole election thing and how it actually has played into gaming this week. But let's talk about the history of gaming, because Smitty, I know this is your area. As you are the historian. But basically, you know, the idea was posed to me, asked if we could talk about it, and what they're really looking for is, again, like, how do we feel about where gaming is, where it has come to, where it used to be, and then I also want to talk about expectations, like us as gamers. Are we getting a little too spoiled and we expecting things that are impossible just because we see all of this greatness with gaming? But if you could just shed some light on that.
Okay. Spoiled is gaming. Yeah, you know, to an extent, yeah, but at the same time, the floodgate is a lot more open on the development side of things, because we were, you know, when we came up, and others in the chat that came up, you know, if you came up playing games basically from a comprehension level in like the, I would say 90s and 80s, you know, I'm 80s baby, so I know about, you know, a lot of the games and a lot of the game systems that had dropped, you know, going from Nintendo. Like, I got to play Atari pretty much at the tail end on up. So going from there, and, you know, back then gaming, you only had one shot at making it happen. You know what I mean? If your game was on point, it was on point. If it sucked, it sucked. Like, you didn't have a patch that you could download. The closest you had to online service of any kind was like Sega TV, for those that remember that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you had the paid subscription for all that stuff, and that was on point. You know, you had the different consoles and everything out there. I mean, this was back when, like when we were talking about Joe Montana, the whole Joe Montana 16 joint or whatever that was supposed to happen. And I made a video showcasing Sega CD. And they talked about Nintendo and everything in there. Like, those were those days. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was an era of gaming where all the companies had to put their best foot forward, even if their best wasn't good enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, Super Nintendo would give you a game that had, like, multiple games in it. You know what I'm saying? Whereas Sega would be like, I don't know, they had all these specials where you could get, like, 5-6 games, and you buy the system for a particular price and get this particular package, and you could get all the stuff, like all these games in one fell swoop, one package and everything. And from the commercials talking about Genesis does what Nintendo don't and all that, you know what I mean? Like, you had no patches. It like, you didn't have that. You know what I'm saying? It didn't exist. Now we're in an era where people want sliders and all, you got to cater to that. And, you got your slider sets, you got your patches. Well, really the patching was only on PC. That's all you really had. And back then we were like, I mean, think about this too. You had the arcade scene was thriving pretty hard back then, because we would play the arcade game and be like, man, we wish this would come out on console. And then now, if the console could just possibly match the arcade. And me personally, playing games like Ninja Turtles, X-Men, Smash TV, what's the name of the game? Pit Fighter, Main Event, stuff like that. Like, I mean, I played a lot of games that were not as well known, and then you got games that are more well known and popular, like WWF Superstars when that was out back then, and Virtual Fighter, and of course Fatal Fury, Samurai Showdown, all those games. So that was, fighting games. I was in all that. Fighting games, sports, even the futuristic, like the futuristic football game you had. Some people may know about this, Cyberball. I mean, of course you can look it up on YouTube now, but I'm talking about going to the arcade and playing, you on one side of the screen and the guy you play against on the other side. Like that was the kind of stuff that we would go to the arcade and play, and that would get me excited and amped up to go home and get on the console and jump on the sticks. Playing Golden, you play. I remember, like, I would go to an arcade and play Terminator Judgment Day or whatever, or play Time Crisis. And then I'm excited. I'm ready to get home and play GoldenEye with some of my people. I'm like, yo, bring your controller over, because I only had 2 of them boys. And then they had to bring their own joints, and we'd be getting it in, playing for, like, we'd be playing that and WrestleMania 2000, because that was 4-player, I think. Perfect Dark and all that.
Oh,
so
man.
It's like,
remember Pro-Am wrestling?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like,
boy, Starman, that was my guy.
Oh man.
Right.
Man. Regular Nintendo, like Starman and all that. Yeah, like, man, that's what I'm saying. These games like WWF Raw and King of the Ring that came out on Sega CD, when they expanded it, and you had all these wrestlers in the game. That was like the first game the first WWF game that had that. I think they had like 30 or 40 wrestlers in it. You know what I'm saying? And like, my dude in there was Diesel doing that caber toss. They had those ridiculous moves they would do in the game. But the whole point is that all these games we're talking about, all these arcades and everything that I'm mentioning, there was no patch. There was no update and all that. And yeah, like what my man Dave is saying in here, we didn't worry about morphing and all that. We didn't. But at the same time, though, you had multiple options. You see what I'm saying? You had your games that were more about the authenticity, and then you had your games that were more on the loose end with the fun. You know, like you had games like on Sega Master System, you had great basketball, but then you go to the arcade and you can play NBA Jam and Arch Rivals and
Oh yeah,
Pigskin and stuff.
arch
You know what I'm saying?
rivals.
Yeah. So like you had some joints, but and of course the iconic double dribble. But the thing is that with if your game came out and it wasn't hot, everybody let you know. You had a good number of games. Oh, run and gun, right? Yes. How could I forget that one? You know what I'm saying? But you had games where if it wasn't on point, or you had a lot of games, a good number of games that would be the first version of it would be on point, but the sequel would suck or wouldn't be as good. But you didn't have no update though. There was no patch. There was none of that. And then when you compare all of that nostalgia and you look at where it's at today, arcade scene ain't nowhere near the same. I don't feel that same excitement, that I once did. You know what I'm saying? You play these games at the arcade or whatever, or some of these games but really they're the older ones. But when you play your games at home and everything, they're not replicating what they say they're supposed to replicate. The authenticity of these titles are not in the same lane that they used to be in, and that's the part that royally sucks. I for one, I don't want patches. I've been very vocal about that. I don't want patches. Not patches, excuse me. I don't want sliders. I never wanted sliders. I never wanted to be able to augment anything in the game. I want the developers to make the game the way they're supposed to in their vision, and then I just come up and play it. I loved what Backbreaker did, you know what I'm saying? And you didn't have that. I loved how live 14 and 15 were with no sliders. That was awesome. I think 15 didn't have sliders, or I think they started to in that. But I loved how those games did not have sliders. I'm like, bet. They're making a game according to their own vision. I love that. Do that. Now all these games get nerfed, and they get nerfed and toned down and patched, or they get tuned up and all that stuff. And it's like, but also with that though, the development time, it's a lot more complex to make it happen in an 8 to 9 month cycle. So it's unfortunate because these games, like we've read and we talked about games like Grand Theft Auto and such that have these big old movie budgets dang near, and they're supposed to get it completed in this time frame, and it's a lot harder to be able to complete that. So it just sucks that they have to go through all of it, like that, and be like, yeah, we got to get all this stuff done that honestly they need more than 8 months, 7 or 8 months to complete, but that's the time frame they're held against, and then they got to drop it and they got to stand behind it and just be like, yeah, this is the product and we love it. And it's not, it's unfair to the developer because they'll always be losing in that end. Just like my man Scott, Scott O'Gallagher, my man, I love him. I love the fact that he has all this basketball knowledge and he talks about it and breaks down what happens in the NBA on Twitter and does his videos. But the problem is that the game that he's backing and saying, yeah, we got this ace system and all that, it's not replicating that. Now, if this game came out, I'll tell you right now, if Madden the way it is right now, FIFA and Madden and 2K and all these games that came out the way they are right now, if they came out in the 80s and 90s, these games wouldn't even see a 9. They wouldn't remotely close to see a 9 because they're incomplete. They would be incomplete by the standard that was set back then. It would be an incomplete title. Versus how those games were back then. So when we sit up here and say that is the community spoiled or the consumer public spoiled in that sense? Yes. because now you have a lot of people that don't necessarily know about what took place back then. And when they play these games now and they're like, oh, they're going to have an update. Oh, they're going to have a patch. Oh, don't worry about it. Oh, it's okay. They updated. Oh, it's okay. No, that's why I say the simulation mode and all that stuff, because I remember if you could back then in the 80s, 90s playing, if you couldn't hang, step down a level, son. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't no, oh, we're going to tune it up for it. No. If you're going to play against the big boys, you better put on the big boy pants and take the whoopings. You know what I'm saying? If you're not really ready. And that's all there was to it. So that's what I'm just saying. It's just a whole, it's not the same how it is anymore. And some people have grown conditioned to it and they're cool with that. I'm never going to be cool with it, but I understand that's the way it is. And the problem, and the sad part is that the minority are the ones that are like, man, we want it to be how it was back then. But now it's the majority feel like, hey, we need to have these sliders. We need to have all these options, all that good stuff. So it is what it is. And I see you, Sim, talking about Rad Racer and everything. What you know about having the 3D glasses in the box? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Those games, man. And you know what it is? It's funny because the reason why I threw the spoiled part in there is because all of us made interesting points. I watched what some people were saying back then. We didn't know. So it's a combination of us growing up, and now we want this, that, and that. But we're kind of forgetting that some of the stuff that we asking for is hard to do. Now, don't get me wrong. I will say this up front. We only ask for stuff that we see done in other products. That at least we do. Yeah. I don't know about everybody else, because I've seen some outlandish requests for Madden and 2K. And I look at some of those things on Twitter and I'm like, bro, ain't nobody doing that. I know you can ask for it, but I'm talking about when these guys be like, there ain't no reason why y'all shouldn't have this. And I'm like, oh, that's a reason. That's the reason why nobody else can do that. So we have to keep that stuff in mind. But, man, it's just, like you said, everybody relies on patches. And patches would be fine if it was just fixing problems. But patches seem to be tuning up, tuning down. And it's all games. And that's the part I don't like. I don't have a problem with a patch to help a game. But I don't like all of the turning the dial up, turning the dial down stuff. Kills me, man. But back then, I mean, I said it in the chat, but Sega Genesis was the console that made me say, whoa, I can't imagine what games going to be like in the future. That was the first one that made me feel like that. Nintendo 64 and 007 is what introduced me to shooters and to cheesing. Because, yes, the guy who claims to be the most sim gamer in the world, me, I was a cheeser with odd jobs. Boy, I would get up under you and chop you. Yeah, you couldn't hit him because he was so short. I used to cheese people to death with odd jobs. But back then, like I said, you just playing the game. And that's a perfect example of what I'm saying. Back then, we didn't care. We were playing the game to win. Period. We didn't care about how bad somebody morphed. And they don't listen to you. You know what? So I'm gonna let Smitty take it away. Let me Tim. I'll be right back. But okay. What was some of your favorite games, Smitty? Let us know your favorite.
Oh, favorite games coming up from back then? Really? Like some of my main joints that I would get down on, like was I played a lot of WCW, NWO Revenge. I mean, look, back then, see now, I because I don't pay attention to wrestling no more. To me, I could care less about wrestling now, because to me it's completely fell off. But my main thing was wrestling games. I was huge on the wrestling game tip. A lot of Nintendo 64, you know, a lot of long nights and dang near burning the cartridge. I mean, that sucker was hot, boy. That console would be flaming hot off of playing some WrestleMania 2000 or some No Mercy back then. Yeah, Rogue Squadron was a nice one. Like back then, I used to work at a game store when I was like 17, 18. So using that discount, we had like a 15 or 25% discount we would get. So man, every pay period, man, like if there was something hot, I'm copping it. I'd have that thing. I would be right there when the truck came in. I would go right in the back, get my copy. Be like, I'm just gonna set this off to the side. This is me. Ain't nobody getting this, and I would get whatever it was I wanted to get. Like it was awesome. But no, like I would definitely say like, Tekken was huge. Final Fantasy was huge for me. Final Fantasy 7 to be more specific. Madden franchise was really huge for me. I mean, that's just throughout gaming, altogether there. Boxing Legends of the Ring, that was huge for me. I played that a whole lot. Let me see. I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't dramatically huge into shooters, but GoldenEye was the main one that I got down on. And then I would say, if there were any strategy games I would play, I would say at least what was the name of the title? Well, Command and Conquer. Yes, that was like the go-to at the time. So it was definitely Command and Conquer. But fighting games, I mean, there were games that I enjoyed seeing people play that I would never even bother trying to play because of how challenging it felt to me. But like for example, I would not try to play like Primal Rage. I saw some people play. I enjoyed watching. Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and not 2, excuse me, but the original Marvel vs. Capcom, because the people that every Saturday I would go to the arcade to play that game. You had all these beasts and everything that were there all the time. I'm like, I know I'd be wasting my quarters if I just set it on the screen. And that's the whole nostalgia, the whole throwback.
Yeah.
Putting your quarter on the screen right there in that corner right there, like I got next. That's me right there.
I got next. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that was it. But nah, I mean it like that was really it for me right there. Like as far as like my spread that I mainly rocked with though. So yep. But I don't know, I'll throw it back to you on that one, man.
Yeah, man. It's so many games. The guys was naming them. I mean, I ain't even gonna sit here and try to act like, I can't even begin, man. It's like, I mean, I remember the first time I played like live, Bulls versus Lakers. Lakers, Celtics, I'm telling you, that's why I say the Genesis. That's why I say the Genesis was the one that made me be like, whoa. Because when
Can't hear you, Sim.
time I played Madden.
There you go.
Yeah, I remember the first time I played Madden, and I was like, wow, that's different. But like I was saying, I don't know if I was still breaking up. When I saw Bulls versus Lakers or Lakers Celtics, I can't remember which one was somewhere else. And so many games, man. Tecmo Bowl. I remember being a young kid, and my older brother and cousin was playing that thing all night. And like it just, but like I said, Smitty, man, I really think we grew up, and now it's so much that we expect. And that's the only reason why I say that I think we're a little spoiled, because games like Uncharted, The Order, Battlefield 1, FIFA, I mean, these games are so amazing that we automatically be like, hey, every game should be like that. And it should. Don't get me wrong. But I think we start, because I was guilty of it, Smitty, because I remember you were the one who brought me back home, even with the Division. Remember when I was like, wait a minute, man, why can't it do this, do this? And you was like, nah, Sim, that's an RPG. It's not, you can't compare that to like a Battlefield. And I was like, okay, yeah, you're right. But I think now when we see so many things going on with technology, I think, and I'm definitely guilty of it, I think that a lot of times we feel like all of these certain things should be happening and should be happening now, but we don't take the time to really think maybe it's hard to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, what's the biggest thing, the biggest problem in these games? Morphs, body clipping, ball tangibility, sliding. And all of our major sports games, well, not all, because FIFA seems to manage it very well. NHL manages it very well, even though I always say they got a cheat code because they on ice anyway. So how could you tell how much they really slide? You know what I mean? Yeah. But it must be hard to do. I don't want to say that 2K or EA is lazy with Madden or NBA. It could be. But I would like to think that they have enough pride in their own products to fix the biggest complaints. You know what I'm saying? Because Smitty and I, and even Azure, we've never been the type of guys that, we don't believe in that whole devs don't do nothing, they don't care business. No, we don't. Because my argument is always, if they didn't care, why would they do anything? Why would they ever have given us the DB and wide stuff, attempt to do it as best they could? Physics and, switching up things here, switching up that. Why would they ever do that if they just didn't care? And you got to think, these couple things that we're talking about are like the last things on the list. So the list is getting short. You know what I'm saying? So I don't subscribe to that. Smitty just saying that they don't want to do it. I really don't think nobody has figured it out. Because like I said, the most beautiful games you've ever seen still got body clipping. Mm-hmm. And it's still morphing. So I think that's a technology thing. I know Vic used to always tell us that physics has something to do with math and all of that stuff. So it's like, hey, I was smart in school, but I won't know no brainiac. Like, I'll let you have that. Even though I was a good guy, good in math, I took all of the crazy maths, calculus and all, trig and all of that. But I ain't no coder, so I'm gonna let you have that. I'm not gonna act like, nah, you should be able to do this, you should be able to do that. So that's my point in saying that, man. Like, I think that we just have to keep those things in mind as we, push towards giving suggestions, and not even suggestions, but as we, start mandating things like saying you must do this, you must do that. But I'll throw it back to Smitty here in a minute just to, wrap up this particular topic as I send a request to one of you guys here that wants to come in, sending you an invite now. So definitely check your invite. But I think what it is too, Smitty, is with us, we try to give our feedback on things that are realistic. There are things that we've seen done in 2K football games. So I can suggest that to EA. There's things that EA did with NCAA. I can suggest that to Madden. There's things that Live does slightly better than 2K, believe it or not. I can suggest that to 2K. And all in all, as far as player movement and interaction, FIFA, PES, NHL, I can suggest that because we've seen it. But we never try to suggest things that is impossible. That's just us. But what do you think about that, Smitty? Just that last point, and then hopefully our guests will come in. Do you think we over-expect as far as things that we want in these games?
No, I don't think that we're over-expecting. It's just that it's going to take time to make it happen. And I mean, that's something I say all the time. I think that the patience level is where it's a problem. And, people expect everything to be addressed in one fell swoop. I mean, you have some people have unrealistic expectations. Like, they want the game to move and react and respond with human-like manner. Like, it's literally a human making a decision. I mean, we've seen videos out here where people would really be reaching to be like, you want to make a human decision in the game, and like, it's not going to happen that way. It's just not going to, and that's something that people have to level their expectation with, because I mean, every game is going to come up short in some manner or degree or level or feature or something, regardless of what they write. You know what I'm saying? What they write in doing a write-up or what's said in the interview, it's going to take some time for things to, come together the way we want them to, like we truly want them to. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with having the demands and putting the posts up and having the blogs and having the wish lists and everything else, because it all needs to be said. It just needs to be consistently spoken of and consistently discussed, and then being patient about it, because like I said, it does take time for change to happen. And as we both know that, and AZ knows that too. We went down to EA and brought, went there with feedback and all that stuff, and we like, hey, look, some of these things may not come for, it may be in the next game or maybe in the game following that or something like that. And the interesting thing is, a lot of the points we said back in some of those old videos are in the game now. So, it does take time. You know what I mean? It's got to be understood, and people got to embrace that concept. So, but that's pretty much my take on it, man.
Yeah, man, it takes a little bit of time. And man, somebody said in the chat, Bill Walsh. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Man, I played that game until it fell apart, I swear. Wow. But can you imagine, man, just reflecting back on those old games, all the problems that they had? Like, if we could rewind time or bring that time up to here, could you imagine? Oh man, could you imagine the problems that we like? Think of yourselves like how we are now, how we dissect everything. Man, them games probably would have got a 4 from us. Because I know they had a ton of problems. I mean, but it was fun. Those games were the truth. Those were the games that laid the foundation, and is the reason why we expect what we expect today.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, guys, we're gonna move on to the next topic, man. I've sent the invite. Let me go back here, Smitty, so I can see exactly who sent it and let him know that it's there. And as soon as he come in, we'll definitely stop what we're talking about, but we'll move on. My MAJC. I've sent the invite via email, so when you get it, come on through. We'll stop what we're talking about and let you get your question or comment or whatever on, and then we'll come back to it. So we're going to try to make the election the last topic, but we want to talk about this part of the election in Colin Kaepernick. Now, this is the thing. I'm going to let guys know how I feel, and then I'll go ahead and throw it to Smitty. It's hard for me. I'm just the type of guy, man. This was how I was raised. I've told many of you guys, I may have come up different than other people. Obviously I'm an African American. In my earlier years, we lived in certain places that weren't the best places. I came up in the street. As I got older, my parents moved. My parents had great jobs and all that, buy a nice house in suburb and all that stuff, so life got better. But early part, I was in the inner city. And we just had, and I'm saying all this so y'all can understand. We have certain morals and rules, in the streets. You always hear people put the word hood on it. I just say the streets, and everybody pretty much knows what that was. We had a code, man. Yeah, you don't judge people. You don't talk about no other dude. You ain't in nobody business. You don't make no predeterminations. You keep to yourself. You stand on your own too. And I say all that to say this. I don't know Kaepernick. So I can't judge him as a person. I can only judge him off of what he shows us in public. But I can't say that is Colin Kaepernick just because I don't agree with this or agree with that. So I don't do all of that. Now, I did say on Twitter, I said, yo, I think what Colin Kaepernick did just killed his whole stance. That's it. But you ain't gonna hear me say he's a dummy, he's a this, he's that. I shy away from that. Like I said, I won't raise like that. If I don't know you, I can't talk about you. Now, side note, there's some YouTubers that I've had run-ins in. I can say those things about them because I seem to know them because of the interactions that we've had. So I could call them suckers because that's how they act. Colin Kaepernick, I don't know that man. I don't know him. So you ain't gonna hear me say that. But I think what he did just killed this whole thing, man. It's like, let me say this because I don't want to sound like I'm missing the point, because I know my boy Dez is in here, and see, Dez, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, and a lot of you other guys are as well, but Dez comes to mind because me and him talked a little earlier about the whole election and everything. Dez is a very intelligent individual. So Dez, like myself, see the real thing. We see the big picture and everything. We see what's really going on. A lot of people, and I'm not trying to knock nobody, but a lot of people just see things on the surface, and they can't see the forest from the trees. It's like they just, oh, that's that, and that's it. They don't see beyond that. Now, I know what he's trying to represent. I get it. By him not voting, I get it. I know exactly what you're trying to do, but it just makes you look crazy. Because here's my beef with it. I don't care whether you voted or not. That's on you. That's your business. But the fact that you consciously, like you made it your business to tell us, we didn't have to know that, right? Do y'all know if Jay-Z voted? He probably did. Do you know if Tom Brady voted? Well, Tom Brady did actually say it, but that's another thing. But do you know if Aaron Rodgers voted? Do you know if, I'm just pulling names out the hat. Arnold Schwarzenegger, do you know if the Terminator voted? Do you know if Oprah voted? Most of these people, they didn't tell us. The Kardashians didn't say, hey, maybe they did. So I know somebody's in the chat gonna be like, yeah, they actually did on this show. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. Most people, we don't know if they voted. We don't even know who they voted for unless they told us. And that's my point. My man ain't have to say nothing. I'm a Steelers fan, right? I don't know who on the Steelers team voted, nor do I know if the coach voted. I don't know if Tomlin voted. And I don't care, because that's their business. But if you tell me, if you come out and say, I ain't vote, now I got to look at you like, why we needed to know that? You see what I'm saying? And that's my beef with him too. It's like, it's not enough for me to get on you for saying, bruh, that killed your stance. But the fact that you didn't mind sharing that with the public, it makes you look at it like, well, what's your angle there? Like, what message are you trying to present? I didn't like that. But like I said, I'm not one of these people, because I've seen some crazy comments to that man. I'm not one of those people that's going to do that. I'm not one of those people that's going to call him out his name and all that. I don't know him. But I will say, I think that move was a little crazy. I don't get it. I don't get it, Smitty. Like I said, before I throw it to you, my beef ain't with him not voting. That's his right. That's his business. Ain't got nothing to do with me. But the fact that you shared that with us now is like you wanting us to know. That's the problem I got with it. Because it seems like it just, your whole protest. Now, let me say this again, too. And he is hurting himself again, guys. Boy, be careful with these 3-year-olds. Now, let me say this, too, real quick, Smitty. I respect his protest. I've been said that. I respect all of that. My only point that I'm making here is I just feel like you're going to project the perception of what you did by not voting might kill your whole premise of the protest in the public eye. And, you know, court of public opinion, when you're guilty, you're guilty. And I hate to see that happen to him. But what you think, Smitty, man? Did you agree? Is it that big a deal or what?
To me, it wasn't a big deal. To be brutally honest, Kaepernick said all that he said, and the thing is that there are many ways to take action and still represent his stance. Voting is not the only way. I know that's what by public eye and public perception and what's generally accepted is you need to go ahead and vote, and you got to speak with your votes and everything else. Well, you also have to, you still, regardless of whomever is voted in office, you still have to put in work on the street level. Things still have to be done. So it would have took way more than just voting. Because, I mean, as you see, all the action Colin had taken well beforehand, did that have to do with a vote? Nope. It had nothing to do with a vote. He took action. You see what I'm saying? He took an action of his own. He's spoken to multiple groups of people in regards to it. He didn't sit up here and talk. I didn't hear him talk about, yo, you guys need to vote, man. You got to get out there and let your voice be heard. And the only way to do that is you got to vote. Come November, you got to do that. Like, I don't remember Colin talking like that.
He didn't.
So,
real quick, I hate to interrupt,
yeah.
But I agree with that. Like, I agree with what you're saying. I don't think it was a big deal either, but he told us. He should have just not said nothing. You see what I'm saying? It's like, I get exactly what you're saying, and I think we both agree. It ain't no big deal, whatever. But I think, like what NYK is saying, and a couple other guys, you lose credibility, man, with your stance, because now you cause this discussion. You, if not anything else, you cause people to be like, you know, with they hit you with the rock eyebrow raise. You know, like, bruh, like, hold on, ain't you the one that was? And now you. That's all I'm saying. Like, I'm not beefing with his actions. I'm just saying the one action. Why did you tell us? If you didn't tell us to vote, then don't tell people that you didn't vote. Because just keep it to yourself. That's all I was saying. Because you know it's gonna cause this conversation, which is gonna kind of contradict your other stance. That's my only point. But yeah, go ahead, man. Yeah. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, ain't no big deal. No, I was just saying that. I mean, that's pretty much all I really have to say on it, because see, and that's what I'm saying. Like, some people saying he shouldn't have said anything. So now that he's entitled to free speech, he's entitled to speak his mind. You don't have to agree with his actions necessarily, but at the same time, he can still take the action that he chooses to take. Because at the end of the day, you have to do things at whatever level you're at. It's just that in his case scenario, he's on a celebrity, quote unquote, platform as an entertainer in the sports realm. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, whether he voted or not, you know, whether he were to cast his vote or not, we see what the outcome is. You know, so does that mean that let's say he voted, whether he voted for Trump or he voted for Hillary or whomever it was, if he wrote somebody in, does that mean that everything stops for him because of that? Stuck, or they won. Well, now I can kick my feet up and sit back and relax now because it's all done. The president's going to take care of it. No. Do what you choose to do. Call it a day. That's pretty much it. If you're going to continue to take the action that you've been taking, then go ahead and do it. If you're not going to, though, that's where I would be questioning. But that's just me. That's where I would question. I'm like, you took all this action without and none had nothing to do with no voting, no poll or nothing. But now all of a sudden, this vote comes about and you dead silent. You just hear crickets. that's where like I said, that's where my issue would be. But otherwise,
Yeah.
nah. I'm good. I'm fine with that because there's probably some people in neighborhoods and all that stuff to do a heck of a lot more, and they don't vote versus somebody that actually does go ahead and vote, and they ain't really doing nothing around their community or doing any work to really improve things around their neck of the woods. So I can't necessarily say it. It's a hard call. So
Yeah, I just think he brought way more attention to himself, man. Like, but he didn't have to say it. I think it was just unnecessary. He didn't have to tell us nothing. But I like what you said. I agree too. He just went dead silent, and it's like the only thing that you say is, "I'm not voting," and you make that public. Like, for what? It was unnecessary. But I'm gonna go ahead and shoot another invite to Matt Lowe here. Let me go ahead and do that. And while we're doing that, guys, because as you can tell, we're pretty much going to end with the election stuff. Because like I said, I don't want this show to be about that. I know some people were wondering, but we're real people. We got to at least address it, but we want to keep it very, very simple. And guys, please just chill out in the comments. I'm gonna say that in advance. We don't need all of the bickering and all of that. Just listen to what we have to say. If you want to say a little something here, cool, but don't be cursing at somebody. Don't disrespect somebody. We don't need all of that. All right, so as I send the invite, give me a second here, guys. All right, so let me tell you all the story, man. Since the election, here's the problem. I'll be brief with the little election piece because it goes into this story. I made my video. Y'all know that. Y'all should know where I stand by now. I don't need to go into that. I didn't like either. And that's another point. Maybe I'll save that until we actually dive into that, because I want to hear Smitty's take as well. But what I was saying was the whole Trump situation. What it did is it created, it's the supporters. Maybe not all. I'm not naive, but it's so many of his supporters that are so fueled with anger and racial tension. Is ridiculous. Let me tell you what happened. Here in my neighborhood, not neighborhood, but schools down the street and another school in the city, there was some white kids that calling black kids names and telling them today you should sit on the back of the bus. They had another issue, and we'll bring Matt in here in just a moment. They had another issue at a school where these kids, had a noose, and they saying this is what's going to happen when Trump takes office. Here's my story. Gaming. I had several times this happen, but one particular time, this guy, just earlier today, he jumps in, we're playing Battlefield, right? And y'all know that Battlefield, that people don't talk normally. So this guy comes in, he said, hey, who in here is an N? I'm not even going to say, let's say ninja. I'm going to say ninja to keep it clean. Who in here is a ninja? And then nobody really said anything. Like, a lot of people laughed, and he was like, yeah, because I don't want to play with anybody that's a ninja, especially now since my president is about to be in office. That's my point with the whole Trump thing. Besides the fact that this dude is an idiot, it's my opinion of him. He's a jerk. He's no presidential guy. I don't care. People always want to hit you with and Hillary's any better. That's when you hit me with that, I know you don't know what time it is. And I'm talking to anybody who said that to me this week. Anybody that I lost a sub for, I don't care. But when you hit me with that, so what if Hillary gets it? Then that's letting me know again, you're missing the point. Nobody, at least I won't cool with either one of these candidates. But I'm saying with this guy, how it affects the country as far as people and the interaction with one another. And you're even seeing it here in the gaming world. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Like, why are all of these people going after the racial? That's crazy. You know, if you support this guy, that guy cool. But how come your support of this guy makes you turn racist? You understand what I'm saying? And I mean, obviously, you're already racist. That's the part that I don't like. And I also, Smitty, I know I'm going off the point a little bit, but we might as well touch it. And then, you know, we'll bring Matt in before Smitty comes back with that, because like I said, I don't want to steer too away from the show. But I'm also seeing people in the black community acting very unruly, fighting and punching people. They got nothing to do. Them people ain't. It's just crazy. And this is what I was saying. This is why I preferred for him not to be elected, because I knew what was going to happen. That's all. That's my point on that. But Matt, come on in, man. Speak about 2K. Let's break this up a little bit. Then after that, we'll respond to that, and then we'll bring Smitty in and we'll get his piece, because I know he wants to speak on the election as well. So if you're there, I see you there. Just unmute yourself and come on in, man.
Hello?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
we got you.
All right. I do want to talk about 2K. I also want to talk about the subject you were just talking about briefly, but about Colin Kaepernick, I don't care if he said anything about it. To me, like I said in the chat, some reporter was going to ask him, because he started the whole political things, getting people to open their eyes to see what was going on out there in the world. Some reporter was going to ask him, just like they asked Tom Brady, and he would have said no, that he didn't vote, and people would still give him hell. So damn if he do, damn if he don't. Forgive my French. Whether he said it or not, to me, I just feel like he just got in front of it and just avoided the whole thing, because people are going to react like this regardless. That's just my take on that.
Good point.
With Hillary and Donald Trump, no matter who won, we were going to see this regardless. People beating up other people. I've seen people on Facebook, on Facebook, our people beating up on, I say our people because I'm black, our people beating up on some guy in his car because they don't even know if he voted for Trump.
Yeah, I saw that. That's stupid.
That's crazy. Like, I don't understand. Like, whether Hillary won, people be going out and doing the exact same thing. No matter who won, this was going to happen, in my personal opinion.
You know what? Let me respond to that real quick. You're actually right, because it ain't even so much the election. It's the fact that once old boy became the nominee, like the madness just came out the woodwork on all sides. Because I agree with you, because like DJ said here in the comment, it just seemed like and I'm not going to say there weren't racist people that supported Hillary, but it just seemed like Donald Trump was just inciting all of that. Maybe even if he didn't do it on purpose. So as soon as he became the guy, you're right. Had she won, then it still would be those people still lashing out. So you got a good point there, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's just from what I see. Either way, we're going to end up with this regardless.
Right.
Well, it comes down to video games, and then you guys' topic earlier about us being spoiled. I do feel to a certain extent we're spoiled. I feel like I would like to. I'm not a game designer, but I would like to go into like a room where they do work on particular games like 2K and Madden, and see how they work on these games, so that I won't feel like I'm bashing them when there's something wrong with the game. I don't have an issue with games having flaws, but it shouldn't have the flaws that it had last year. The same bugs that was in the game last year, it shouldn't be in this year's product. 2K to me the graphics are incredible, and I feel like though if they leave the graphics like 2K16 compared to 2K17 graphics, I will go with 17 graphics over 16's graphics, because I think it's just more detailed, and it helps make the game smoother when they're doing crossovers and layups. It just makes the game look better. So if 2K would just work, keep the graphics the way it is now, and just work completely on gameplay, the fundamentals of the game, getting all the bugs, then 2K would be a perfect game. I also feel, well, I'm not going to say perfect game, because no game is going to be perfect. Nothing is perfect. But it'll be better than this year's product. So when people ask me all the time, they're like, yo, Matt, did you pick up 2K17? I'm like, yeah, I did. Oh, is it better than 16? No, it's not, because it's the exact same game from last year. They just updated the graphics and updated roster. They're still, and then everybody's like, oh, what about my player? Like, I don't play my player, because everybody just cheeses the game out. They just spend all their money on VC and they go out there and build their perfect character, or they find out what's the perfect player to create, whether it be a center last year or 7-foot point guard, which is crazy. I don't understand that. They create all these particular characters just so they can say that they're best in the game, and actually they just cheese in the game. That's a problem there. That's why I don't do my player. But I would probably do my player more if they gave you more options instead of just playing 5-on-5. Like, say, during the pro round. And before I go into that, why did they get rid of? I would like to ask 2K, why did they get rid of the All-Star game as an exhibition? Like, it's just a regular feature where you just played the All-Star games. Because that's what I used to do with my friends all the time. They come over, we pick our favorite players, we do the slam dunk contest, we do the 3-point contest. That's no longer in the game unless you go through the legacy and have to go through almost the whole season just to play that one particular thing one time. That doesn't make that. Why did they get rid of that? And I could never understand that. I would like 2K to answer that question. Why did you get rid of that? Because that was one of the things that I played it for. Live didn't have that, or they Live had it, but it wasn't as good as 2K's version. 2K gave you more control over what particular dunk to do and how to do it, with moving the right stick left and right and this, that, and the other to make this character do this particular dunk. So I do have an issue with that. And then I said the last time, why did they create the shot meter? And I think they created the shot meter to get more people into the game. But to the history of games were already tough as we were getting older. There was Nintendo didn't have a save zone, or Sega didn't have a save zone. I literally had to stay up from night to the morning just to beat one game because they had no save zones.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And these games that are like Madden and them coming out with certain difficulty levels, like I said, they should bring back the Madden 10. That little feature they had where you play the simulation, whatever, they played this little thing, and it puts you in a class that you were in. Like when you played this computer, it put you in that class, and you was in that class until you got better at it. So a lot of people, and to me, when it comes down to video games, I don't know about you guys, but I play a video game to be, challenged.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when you play these sports games, I play it on the hardest difficulty, like Hall of Fame and Automatic, because I want to see the game at the best of its abilities. What the game can actually do against me to make me work at a W. Like, so I feel accomplished when I get this W. I don't want to feel like it's too easy to get the W. I want to feel challenged in getting it. So it feels better winning it when it's more of a challenge. All the effort, all that work that you put into actually playing this game makes it more rewarding. Like, I don't know if you guys play the Dark Souls games or the Bloodborne games. There's no difficulty. Yeah. There's no difficulty in that game. You go into that game and they don't tell you how to play. You just go in there and you got to focus. You got to grind. I had the game. I almost traded it in, but then I looked at the YouTube video and they talked about, you got to grind the game. The game is not easy. It doesn't come with the structure. You got to learn how to play it.
But see, you know something about that though. Part of the marketing angle is prepare to die. You know what I'm saying? Like, they know that, especially, and that's one thing that RPGs can get away with. You're not gonna see people dumb down an RPG because it's hard for someone, because the whole RPG crowd wants the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's a game where it's gonna be that grueling of a challenge, they're all for it because they're in, like, that's their crowd. They love that kind of detailed play where it's like, okay, how am I gonna beat these guys? Oh, I went left when I was supposed to go right, and I made this turn when I should have made that, or I used this weapon and I needed to combine it with this, special ability or whatever. It's like they appreciate all those intricacies. But but when you talk about sports games, people say they want all those intricate details, but then when the keywords start, when you start to give that to them, they want it to be dumbed all the way down, and it's basically the same game you had the year before because of what people want to do. Like, they want it to be that hit, but then they say they want innovation. You know what I mean? Like, you can't say you want innovation and then want it to be dumbed down because it's becoming too quote unquote realistic of a challenge or whatever the case may be. Like, there has to be some change up.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
then,
that's But no,
well,
go
then,
ahead, man.
I mean, but then, why are the? I mean, then 2K when the originally the games come, it was like the best like when the original games were coming out, the best simulation games. Like if Rex, I don't know Rex like you guys know him, but if they don't want to make the games or they want to make the games more simulation, they need to bring back out NFL Street or NFL Blitz. So then that way you get the art. People want to play the arcade style and do all these crazy things that you can't do in real life. You create a game for that. NBA Street, you bring those games back. If people want to just play those type of games, and you can still put the roster of an NFL team on those games, just give them the craziness that they want. And then you leave the Maddens and the 2Ks for simulation people. And then I feel as though when it comes down to gamers and developers like Rex and them, be upfront and be like, "Hey, we're moving in a direction of simulation." I don't like. I'm not a YouTuber like that, so I don't know if he said things like that or not. But
He
you
says
guys
that
can.
all the time.
Yeah,
He says that publicly.
Okay, and then people really understand that if we're going that direction, that means that because me, when I think of simulation, I think the game's like you said, the game's supposed to reenact real life characters. So if in real life this person's supposed to do this, then the game's supposed to be tough because it's supposed to simulate that. Because that means that you mentally understand what you're getting yourself into. But I understand that people can't grasp that. They want this game to be so easy as soon as they pick it up, so they can be quote unquote the best gamer out there. In actuality, all they do is when you're winning, they call timeout. Speaking for head-to-head Madden, call timeout, and you can never get back into the game. So they try to force you to quit the game first so they can get the W. You know what I'm saying? I've seen that stuff happen in Madden. That's why I don't play on the head-to-head anymore. But like I said, but that's how I feel about games. I'm not expecting them to be perfect games, but I just don't want to have the same bugs from last year. You know, with these games coming out, you pick up 2K17, you expect everything to be completely different. Everything that was the bugs that was from last year. Like, why is it that last year there was like, oh, we're gonna focus on injuries. So this particular player has this particular injury, that injury can be re-aggravated. But then 2K17, they downgraded back to 2K15, so now every time you get hurt, it's a high ankle sprain or it's a broken nose. I'm like, why is it an ankle sprain every play? I can go for a jump shot and the dude hurt his ankle. Like, are you serious? Like every player is hurt by the same injury. I haven't seen a different injury in the game yet, besides a broken nose and a high ankle sprain. And last year they really focused on if this particular like Carmelo has a shoulder injury, he's going to re-aggravate his shoulder or a back injury. But they downgraded back, so that's the issue for me. They downgraded, and in player likeness, for the Knicks, because I watch the Knicks, Drew Holiday on the game does not look nothing like his counterpart in real life.
Yeah, he did before.
You know what I'm saying? He looks like a straight alien. You know what I'm saying? Long neck, round head, no goatee, no afro, none of that stuff. He don't look none like his characters. Like they said before, half the characters in the game look way skinnier than it's supposed to. Like they look anorexic. And you a big man look anorexic. Like it's crazy to me. I don't understand that. And then when it comes down to Madden, why do they add in the little mini game buttons on the top of the screen, on top of your running backs? Like before, you had to move the right stick to break a tackle. Now you got to press circle, square, X, triangle, all these different things to make the game, to me, feel unrealistic. It doesn't feel realistic to me anymore because you add those features in there. Players don't jump up for the ball. I mean, I see people coming in, so I'm not gonna take up too much of y'all time. I just want to get that out, you know, as a sort of event, you know what I'm saying? But just trying to figure out if you guys can help me figure out how we can make these games be better and how we can get the difficulties, simulation things that you guys are talking about under control and find a way to balance it out. But that's my stint. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come on and speak.
No problem, man. We appreciate you coming on. I mean, quick answer to that is, I think that's what we do is attacking that. I mean, it ain't really we have to just keep fighting for it because it's clear. 2K does it. Madden does it. Well, all of us should know by now, and I'm just saying, we all should know by now what this is about. The suits make the decisions. I'm almost guarantee you that Rex and them did not sit around and say, you know what, we need to do this and put this. No. Now, the ability to break tackles and stuff probably was something that they considered, but those who make decisions were saying, how can we make that easy? You know, so that's how gaming works. I can't speak for the 2K devs because I know OG, but I never really talked to him on that level. Not since he's been with 2K. I've talked to him on that level when he was at EA. The devs, I mean, we've said this a million times. Rex has said it a million times. Those guys on the Madden team wants to make the most authentic football game ever. Every year they attack it that way. Every year they have a plan. And just like at any other job, they have to take their plan to the big boss and say, this is what we're trying to do. The big boss looks down and says, well, that's going to cost this. It's going to cost that. When is the game got to come out? No, it's going to take 3 months to do that. We can't spend that much time. We can do this. We can do that. That's how it works. That's how it works. I mean, Anthony White has said that as well. I mean, definitely since we've talked to him, but he said that publicly is just how it works. They have shown us things that they have on the board, on the table, that's going to blow people's mind. They got to get there. And that's how it works. So our job in the community is to just keep pushing the issue. True story. And then I want to bring in my man Art, because I know he wanted to speak on one of the topics. After that, I see we got AZ in, so we'll get AZ in and fill him in a little bit about where the show has gone. But true story. There's guys on the dev team that every time we come in, and sometimes we talk about it beforehand, they'll hit me up and be like, yo, please, when you come here, push that idea again. That's one of my biggest ideas that I've been presenting. And if you guys keep saying it, it's going to push it through faster, because then they ain't going to look at me like it's just my idea. Y'all know what I'm saying? Think about that. Everybody knows how that works in life, period. Yo, come here, man. Come here. Come here. She don't believe me. Tell her what I just said. You know what I'm saying? It's just like that. Numerous times they have said, yo, Sim, yo, Smitty, yo, AZ, when so-and-so and them come down, like, make sure y'all keep putting that on the board so we can show the powers that be. See? I told you, all of them said the same thing. And that's how life works. That's a job. Think about where you guys work. Some of y'all might not go through that, but a lot of you guys listening, think about where you work and tell me in my line. That's how things work when you're working in a place that's production or, you know, some type of development, how that works. So all we can do as consumers, man, is keep pushing, because one thing that we all can agree to, we're getting stuff done. We're getting stuff done. You know, we're at the mercy of time. That's the only thing. We can't control when it gets done. But that's all I got on that. But Art, man, we got you in here. Come on through, man. Let us know what you got for us tonight.
Hey, fellas, what's happening, man?
What up,
Yo,
man?
what's up?
Hey, man, I just want to touch on the whole election thing, man. I was on Facebook today, and my brother-in-law posted. He said, "Will we be okay in 4 years if Michelle Obama was allowed to run?" I said to myself, nah, that ain't gonna happen. Because number one, they don't want a woman in office. That's number one. Number two, well, number one, she's black.
You know what was funny? Not to cut you off, but that was something I told people months ago. Another reason why Trump could win. Think about that. Ain't a lot of people, a lot of them old folks, them old, you know, good old, our old roots from back in the day, they ain't trying to have no women president.
No.
That played a big part too. But go ahead, man.
Not at all. So, when he said that, I didn't mean to shoot him down, but it's like we got to deal with this at the present moment. You know what I'm saying? And what I'm saying is us as black people, and I'm not making this a race thing, but everybody else is. And the one thing that I noticed about African Americans, man, is that when you from the hood, you don't see color. You understand what I'm saying? Because you grow up in an environment where you're around Hispanics, You're around a little bit of whites. You're around, you know what I'm saying? You're around your homies. You feel me?
Yep.
So that's not in our blood. That just don't, it just don't sit right. So my thing is, you know, you have some people that's like that, but I'm saying, I wouldn't even call them racist. I would call them more so prejudiced than a full-blown racist. You understand what I'm saying? But that didn't come from us. We didn't start the KKK. You understand what I'm saying? We wasn't out there burning crosses, wearing pillow sheets over our head. You know what I'm saying? That didn't come from us. You understand what I'm saying? And people say, oh, why y'all so bitter? Why y'all so bitter? That was up 10 years ago. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're still dealing with that in America today. And for the fact that Barack Obama is out of office, these dudes are coming out the woodworks now. You understand what I'm saying? It killed Caucasian America, white America. It killed them to see him in office. It really did. You understand what I'm saying? And it's so crazy that we're dealing with this right now. And I'm going to tell you right now, we got a revolution right at our doorsteps, man. And I'm going to just keep it 1,000, man. We got a revolution right at our doorsteps, man. And if we don't equip ourselves with the proper knowledge, if we don't equip ourselves with what we need to move forward as a race and as a country, we're going to be in a bad position, man. I said on Facebook, I said, look, I'm loading up all my guns, all my ammo. I said, I got my Bible right to the right of me. You understand what I'm saying? And that's real rap. I'm waiting patiently because something is going to go down and people are going to lose it, man. This dude is going to do something that people are going to revolt against, man. And it's going down, man. You know what I'm saying? So, look, man, that's all I really got, man. I was so disgusted. I didn't play my video game in 2 days.
No, man. Get on the game. It'll make you smile, man.
Man, you know, it pisses me off, man. I'm not in the league no more, man. Like I said, you know, my daughter broke my PlayStation. Now we got Trump in office. I really ain't getting nothing now. Everything about to go sky high. You know what I'm saying? So I say, man, it's all good, man. I appreciate y'all, man, for having me on. Appreciate y'all, y'all dedication to this grind every Thursday, man. I look forward to it. And this is what I get out of my work week, man. Seeing y'all guys come on here and just listening to the calls that come in. So y'all keep doing what y'all doing, man. I appreciate you bringing me in, bro.
No doubt, man. We appreciate it, man. And, you know, we appreciate all you guys too, man. That's not afraid to speak your mind. I'm gonna get AZ here in a minute, but I wanted to address this, Smitty and AZ, before I throw it to AZ. You know, a few people had some choice words to say to me. Like I said, I'm down to I lost about 48 subscribers, whatever. And quite a few people have said, we just want to hear you talk about games. Nobody want to hear it. And I was like, look, I'm a real dude. I'm going to speak my mind. I've always done that about anything. And just because I speak my mind about real life, that shouldn't really offend you that much. If you think this and I think that, we still should be able to speak. You know what I'm saying? And those are the ones I'm talking about. Because I'm sure some people who are going to see this might be Trump supporters. Hey, man. If that's what you want to do. I don't believe every Trump supporter is a racist. I don't. My man said it great. Maybe not racist. Maybe the word is prejudice. And even with that, I don't think they're all prejudiced. You know, because let's be honest. You got people in your own community. There's black people that don't like black people. So it ain't about, you know, to me, I don't look at it black, white all the time. But I am educated. I understand what this this country was built on. Let's not kid ourselves. Like I said, on Facebook, I did a Facebook Live video. I recommend everybody watch the documentary called 13. Watch it. White, black, Hispanic, Asian, whatever. Watch it. Because this world and this country is never going to get it together if we can't acknowledge what has happened and why this section of people feel this way, this section of people feel that way. You got to understand the past and understand that it's, you know, it's systemic. It comes from a long time ago. Because let's be honest, there's no reason why a 15-year-old in 2016 should be prejudiced. They don't know nothing about that, dog. Anybody born in the 2000s shouldn't be. It's taught behavior. That's why I said we have to go back and understand each other to know why there's bitterness here, there's hatred here. We have to. And some people, let's face it, some people just racist. I know black people who straight up racist too. The black community ain't exempt. But I'm just saying, my point is, I don't understand how people get so salty. Like, dog, we should be able to have a difference of opinion and still be able to shake hands and say, hey, man, good luck to you. And, God bless you. It's just an opinion. It shouldn't be so much anger. But for those who treat me that way, that's how I'm going to treat you. I ain't rocking with you. Period. I ain't rocking with all the people who have called me the N-word today and yesterday, all in my video. I ain't rocking with y'all. People who was loyal supporters, rock. They dipped. They ain't rocking with your boy no more. Because they couldn't understand my thought and my concern about the country because Trump being in office is creating all this madness. Whatever. I ain't need you anyway. If that made you leave, peace. I'll help you. I'll pack your clothes and call a cab for you. I'm cool. I'm good on that. I don't need you. But anyway, hey, Z, we're going to bring you up to speed, man. Hey, you can talk about whatever you want. If you want to talk about the Titans, other than that, all we've been talking about, man, is a little bit of election stuff, because I kind of told the story about dudes calling me the N-word and stuff while I was playing Battlefield and saying, I don't want to play with you because my president about to be elected, all this craziness. And then we talked a little bit about Madden, man. So whatever you got for us, man.
Oh, man. First off the bat, man, I apologize. I've been having some stuff going on. Last week I was studying for a test I got coming up. And tonight I had to work late. But everybody on this show understands that it's family and priorities first, and we always got to take care of stuff and keep things at the forefront. So that is what it is. But first off the bat, my Titans, who went out to San Diego and got run on by Melvin Gordon like he was Adrian Peterson 2008 or whatever. And ended up throwing a pick six to seal the game. Mariota, who had 3 touchdowns in the game. Three passing, 1 rushing. But it was overlooked by a fumble of his, a pick six, and I think he threw he threw 2 picks and a fumble, which were costly. It's a very strange occurrence, but every turnover, I want to say, that Mariota has goes for a touchdown at the crucial moments of the game.
Wow.
When we played the Colts.
That's crazy.
Yeah, when we played the Colts, he fumbled. I forgot who it was, Robert Mathis or somebody picked it up, ran it in for a touchdown. This was last drive of the game. He fumbled that fumble on the option play, which I thought was a terrible call at the time, on 3rd and 13 to run an option play and put your quarterback at risk. That was picked up in return for a touchdown. And then the last, which was the nail in the coffin, was the pick six by, I think it was Flowers. I think the cornerback's name was Flowers. Either way, all of them returned for points. So that is a little concerning, but in the red zone, Mariota in his career has thrown 26 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So somebody on Twitter was like, yo, if we can just have red zone Marcus the rest of those yards, we'd be good. So, we'll see what happens this week. We play the Packers, Aaron Rodgers. They're coming off embarrassing loss. And they are 4-4, I think, and we're 4-5. So desperate times, desperate measures. We'll see who shows up. Derrick Henry has a calf strain, might be out a couple weeks.
Yeah.
I think that affected, the run game as well. Because even though DeMarco gets the lion's share of the carries, Derrick had a great week the week before that, his best output. But I think he got hurt pregame, which is strange. People would be pissed if that had pregame injuries or warm-up injuries in Madden. But they do happen. And, you know,
Yeah.
Smitty can tell you, Stephen Tulloch tore his ACL celebrating a sack. So I mean, you know,
Yep.
stuff like that happens. But people would be pissed off if it happened in Madden. But
It happened to the Steelers, man. I can't remember who it was. I want to say it was the punter or somebody like that.
a
He got hit with
grammatical
the ball.
ACL, running,
yeah.
jumping. So, I mean,
Yeah.
those kind of things happen, but let it happen in Madden and people be upset. But you know, that's neither here nor there. So, on to the election stuff. From my Titans on to election stuff. It's funny because our country gave the perception with the Obama win in 2008 that we were moving forward and progressing. And
good point.
I think that this, and I'm not a racist, I'm not prejudiced. I grew up and I believe in diversity. But I think white people who were stern Trump supporters see this as their Obama win. And it's like, yes, we got a white president back, you know, and they can go out and like Sim said in his video, it's not so much Donald Trump, even though he stroked those flames, it's his supporters that are the problem, that have come out and done nasty and ugly things, vandalizing people's car, putting Trump's name on it. Donald Trump didn't do that. He actually didn't cause you to do that. You just did that out of your own hate and admission out of your heart, which is sad, you know. But these people never left. They were here through the Obama administration, through the Obama presidencies. And it's funny because it's such a difference in presidencies. Here you have President Obama, who didn't have any scandals. President-elect Trump has a rape case pending. And this is on top of the, you know, grab him by the pee stuff that he said.
I'm going to try that, by the way, and see if I get arrested or not.
Then you have Michelle Obama, who was brutalized in the media for having her arms out as first lady. We've already seen Melania Trump naked. So it's just a difference, man. And it shows you who the hypocrites are in America. Now they're saying, give him a chance, give him a chance. But as soon as Obama was elected, it was, we're going to work against him in the Congress and Senate. We're not going to pass any of his bills. Now it's give Donald Trump a chance, a man with no presidential political experience. I said this on Twitter, and I know it only works for white men, or, you know, but I said, I'm gonna excuse my son. I'm going to apply for jobs I'm not qualified for. Because if he can be the president of the United States, which is arguably more important than a pharmacist or a manager, then why can't I do that? I mean, and the answer is I'm not a white man, but let's just be honest. Until somebody tells me that I can't do it because I'm black, I'm going to do it because this man is president-elect of the United States with no political experience. I don't care how many businesses he's run, he has no political experience. What are his policies? He wants to build a wall, get rid of Muslims, rebuild the inner cities, put Hillary in jail, which he took down. To be honest, Donald Trump played all of his supporters. He just wanted to get the presidency.
My man is a hustler. He must be from the hood, though.
He hustled. Now, you know, anybody who gets a small loan of $1 million, now he ain't from the hood. But you know, I got a small loan from my father of $1 million. Can I get a small loan of $50,000? Get out of here, man, with that. But anyway, you know, now we've got to deal with him. I'm not sure if he can make it through a presidency, and it's actually not going to be him making decisions. He's going to hire a brain trust, and those are the people that we have to worry about, the people who are really going to be making decisions, because Donald Trump is going to be somewhat of a puppet, like all presidents are. you know. And to be honest, everything that affects us goes on at our local and state elections. Those are the elections you really have to worry about. You have to worry about what's happening in your community first. So, you worry about your community, your state, then you take it to a federal level, of worrying about the president and all that kind of stuff. Because honestly, I don't see Donald Trump getting done anything of what he said he was going to do that riled up and stroked the fire to get him elected. He's not going to put Hillary in jail. He might build a wall, but what is that going to do? You know what I mean? People are going to dig tunnels under that wall or put up ladders and go over the wall. I mean, you're just sending the wrong message. I mean, and I work in the school system. I work with kids. And it was interesting the conversations that they were having with one another, saying, they have friends. And I work at a diverse school, so they have all kind of ethnicities and backgrounds. And you have friends joking with each other. Hey, man, a Hispanic kid, let's go back to Mexico, or let's go back, that kind of stuff. That's stuff that we wasn't joking about as kids.
Right.
And it's a stark reality. So we have to be careful about the citizens that we are raising in our homes, man, because they're going to inherit the future. Right now, we're not creating a good one for them. And it's going to be interesting, honestly, because they're going to hold Donald accountable for all the things that he said during his candidacy. Hold on.
Yeah, man.
All right, my bad. I had to.
No,
yeah,
you good.
But yeah, they're gonna hold him accountable for all the things he said during his presidency. I mean, his candidacy, and they're gonna want to see it done. And if he doesn't compute and execute that, I don't know, man. I just don't think he can do the job. Honestly, I'm not sure if he's gonna be able to carry it out. It's a very stressful job. If you look back over Obama's 8 years, that man looked like he aged 30 years.
You ain't lying.
He had black hair. Black hair. Now his hair is stark white gray. You know what I mean? And he's a laid back dude. So I'm pretty sure that Donald, his hair might pop up straight up in the air by the time he's done, but we'll see, man. And I don't know, man. And then we talked about, you all touched on, this will be my last thing, the Madden front, man. Ultimate Team is such a love-hate relationship with it. Because on one end of the spectrum, they get new content all the time, which constantly refreshes the game. Makes it new. Makes it interesting, makes you want to go out and do the challenges, get players, acquire players, new stuff. I saw today that, I don't know if they were putting them in Madden, but Chad Ochocinco was at the studio. Get the face scanned in. So, he might be coming, to Madden Ultimate Team. And, people love that kind of stuff. I love that. But I hate that it's so arcadish. Like, what for CFM, we still don't have an app. We still don't have the things that we need to cohesively run a CFM and keep people interested and involved and engaged. All the while, Mutt is getting new stuff all the time. So it's very hard for me I have not bought a single thing with money in Mutt. I do not support microtransactions in games, period. All the stuff that I've done has been coins and me stuff earning. Now, I do give them credit of having more ways to get coins and get your coins up so you can get some of the stuff that they have. You don't have to purchase stuff. But they always put it out there, and it makes it so tempting for you to go ahead and it's just $10. It's just $20.
Right.
And then next thing you know, dude's dropping $1,000 on a game they paid $65 for. So you got to be careful not to get caught up in that, especially when there's so many other good games out and around to play. And right now, Madden is my only thing that I'm playing. Like, I don't really have time to play anything else or to dedicate to anything else, especially with school and having 2 kids and 1 more on the way. I just don't have time. So I got the 2 leagues that I'm in. That's it. Any leisure time or, downtime I have that, I spend with the fam. So for it not to be as engaging as I know it could be or it should be, and I'm speaking of CFM, is disappointing. No app, no draft, no edit draft class, which to me, even though we are going to do it post-draft, it adds so much more to the immersion if it's pre-draft. To go into, and I know because I did it before they patched it. I went in, I had a franchise offline, and I edited the draft class, and to go in there and see the collegiate players that I had edited pre-draft in the scouting phase it added so much more, to the draft class and how it is. So, true enough, we're going to have it in, Sim Standard Radio League, and I'm going to do that work just because I think it's worth it, and I think the league will enjoy it. All the positive feedback that I've got from it when I announced it has been made me want to do it and get to it even more. But we about to hit the playoffs, and I'm looking forward to that too. I'm actually probably going to play my playoff game tonight after we get off the show. So, and it's been a competitive league, man. I'm 13-3, and I'm in the wild card. So that tells you right there what kind of season it's been in the league. So, I'm gonna stop talking now, but I appreciate everybody's participating in the show, held it down, and in my absence as well, Smitty and Sim, and people who came on tonight. Can't wait to get Art back in the league, man. He's a great competitor and a character. One of our core members, man. So I'm ready to see him making those videos, talking trash back up in the league, man. Because we starting to build and expand our core group, and it went from like 5 to 10. Now it's like at 10 to 15 of core people who you can just count on and say that, hey, these are good owners that we're building on, and we're looking for some more to even build upon that, man. So I'll pass it back to Sim, and we can keep rolling, but I appreciate y'all let me get in here and, spill some beans too.
Yeah, man. In regards to Madden, real quick, and I'm gonna be better when the second season, guys. I promise, man. I'm gonna either stream the games, which I know a lot of you guys like, or I'm gonna make sure I always record them and chop them up. Blew my chances, man. I was on my way to the playoffs, and just something happened. I had the division in my hands. All I had to do was win the last game, and I lost it to the Browns. I had beat the Browns early in the season. I think you guys saw that game, but I ended up 9-7, 9-7, and I could have very well had been 10-5, and 11-5, and at the very worst, if I would have went 10-6, I'm in. But it's very competitive in our league. To be honest, I know my man Caleb said it before. I'm always happy to be 9-7, to have a winning record, so to speak, in that league, because there's some tough competition in there. AZ and them boys, like they do their thing.
Yeah, man, I went 3-3 in my division and 13-3 overall. So I didn't lose outside of my division. And Kia got me twice. The Texans got me once, man. And he has the best record in the league. And week 17, we played 22-21 was the final score of that game. So he has a bye week this week along with the Chiefs. But I'm telling you, man, it was teams right there. It was playoff spots up for grab last week of the season. So that tells you, man, it's a competitive, fun league, man.
Yeah, I blew it, man. And then the crazy thing is, guys, in the fourth quarter, it ain't like it would have mattered. But let's say I would have won. Ben goes down with a broken collarbone. So I'd have been up out of there in first round anyway. But yeah, man, the league is fun. And like Azure says, I play some Madden. I mean, I try to, trying to be a YouTuber, guys. Y'all know how it works. I try to play games that the guys want to see and what's going to get some attention. And I try to shy away from stuff that don't. I mean, some of the other series that I was doing, honestly put, man, people don't even watch them because I can't waste my time doing that. So it comes down to me really just playing Madden in our league. And, sometimes I play offline just to, try different things. And, I am playing MUT here and there, but y'all know it's my free grind, trying to get the All Steelers team. But, I don't really have time, man, with all the other stuff that I'm doing. But yeah, we need that immersion. We need the app. We just need more. We need more, man. And we'll see what 18 is gonna bring. I'm kind of speaking with disguising what I'm saying here, but I know Smitty and Azure will catch it. I'm real curious to see what 18 is gonna be. I'm real curious to see it. For obvious reasons, Smitty and Azure know what I'm referring to is. Because when we go there, guys, a lot of times we know things ahead of time, but then things can change. So I'm looking forward to seeing when we go down for the first time and we start, finding out exactly what the game plan is and we start giving them feedback on what they're going to bring. But I'm just curious because there's so much that we want. There's so much speculation, with everybody and their mama thinking, oh, this must be the year that all the EA's games are going to go to Frostbite and all that. So it's so much on the table. I'm just curious to see exactly what's happening. The sad part is we can't tell y'all. We won't be able to tell y'all until we're able to tell y'all. But I can't wait for our benefit to see, number one, things that we know is taking place. Number two, things that are surprised that's going to happen. Number three, some of the things that we thought that might not make it because we go through that every year. So I'm just curious to see where it's going, man. I can say this. I think I can speak for the guys. Madden is coming along the way we thought it would since we've been involved. Now it's more like us. What we do when we go is more keep putting the foot on the gas. Like, all right, now come on. Like, okay. It was taking a little too long with this particular thing. Come on, we got to get that. So that's kind of our angle. We know what they want to do. There's no more do we have to worry about that. Now it's about us getting stuff to push the game to the next level, so to speak. The trenches and all of that. Like Azure always says, the passing mechanics and trying to get rid of those drawn animations and get the player move. That's the stuff that we pushing for. Getting weight and momentum to be more of a factor. Because the tools are in the game. Now it's time to crank them up. So outside of that, guys, man, I really don't have much more to say. I'll definitely, throw it to Smitty. I know I'm sure you. Oh, that's right, Smitty. Yeah. You haven't said your piece on the whole election bit, and I know you definitely wanted to say something. So go ahead, man. Bless us, man.
Now I was just gonna say, I'll just be relatively brief with it, but basically, Trump, he basically pulled a Danny Ocean. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this dude pulled Ocean's 11 type move on all these people. And just like what you were saying, Sim, I mean, he pulled on the right string and got all these people amped up and overreacting and everything else.
Yep.
And you see what's happening out here. And I got to make this mention here real quick because, I mean, it was put out there in the public space, but it was on Twitter. But my dude PX1, we was having a little bit of a chat back and forth because, election night, there were some tweets that were put out by other guys that were talking about, like, I don't know if it wasn't at Trump Tower, but wherever they were celebrating Trump's victory, said they were making racial comments and stuff like that. They were making derogatory comments. And my man said, oh, it's only a few people in one place making that comment. And I'm like, a few people in one place, and I was about to start engaging, but then I just said, you know what? Just forget it. Just forget it. No point. I'm gonna say it like this. My man's Majesty, look, yo, you on this side of the palm, bruh. You can never understand the back side of the palm. Okay? You can never have that kind of discussion. We can have all the debates in the world about sports and all that stuff, but this is a debate. There's no debate here, buddy. Trust. There are many videos, and there's all kinds of evidence out there that that Trump enabled the bigotry and the racism and all. He enabled it. He enabled that, and you heard it from the. I mean, there were videos people posted on Facebook. There were videos posted about whatchamacallit, following reporters following Trump. You know what I'm saying? Letting them, like, they were following Trump around and listening to the crowds and what they were saying and all that stuff. So it's not just a few people. It's many people. You got people in those red states that were doing that stuff. Okay, legitimately. And when you try to make statements and try and downplay it and act like, oh, you know, pish tosh, it's okay. Oh, of course it's okay, because you're on this side of the palm. Be on this side of the palm, and then you tell me how okay it really is. So you can't really, like I said, that's why I ended the discussion right then and there. Like with Sim, when he made his video, he didn't even let people comment, because it's like, you know what, you're not gonna get it. There's no way you're going to get it. There's no level of justification you possibly could bring to the table, or rationale.
And I don't mean to cut you off, Smitty. I said this, and I'm going to be quick. I said this on Facebook. I wish that there was a way that white people could experience what minorities experience, like how people go undercover in fat suits. Seeing people, go undercover in fat suits to see how people are treated. They don't really understand. Until they actually experience somebody treating them bad because they're overweight, or, in our cases, somebody following you around the store because of the skin of your color of your skin, or somebody clenching their purse because they think you're a criminal, or, going into a bank and, people are helping white people before they help people of color. Or, things of that nature. Like, you wouldn't really understand unless you actually had the experience of being discriminated against because of your skin color and being a minority. Now, true enough, there are some instances where you can be discriminated against as a white person, but it's not really the same, And like I said, I just wish they could see for themselves a personal experience of being hated for nothing else than the color of your skin, something that you can't even control. So, just to make that point, and not to take away from what you were saying.
Yeah, no, it's cool. No, I just want to say that, it's not and this is not going against anybody or anything like that. I mean, that should be very understood, but I mean, you got to state it anyways, because there are people that are going to watch that don't necessarily know us or whatever, new viewers, but it has nothing to do with making it a race thing. But at the same time, like, there wasn't anything, this whole thing was emotional based. There was a lot of discrimination, and there was a lot of disrespect going on across the board. And no one's sitting up here and saying, yo, Hillary was the best candidate and all that stuff and everything. Neither one, to be brutally honest. I mean, neither one of them were the one.
Neither one of them either.
But the thing is that, like you said, Sim, is the behavior is being enabled. It was definitely being enabled, and it was definitely being pushed to the forefront. And now that, like you were saying earlier, Sam, because Trump is in there now people like, yeah, now he here, and now they really being, they being flamboyant with it. They're being confident with it now, and that could be, that could be a big time problem. Just like what you were saying in your video, like it's like, yeah, when this dude messes up, remember you voted for him. If or when this guy messes up. But you know what though? One thing I would say is this. Regardless of what, and this is what I was saying to some people earlier. I didn't post it on social media or nothing like that. Just talking with coworkers, talking with my wife. I was like, and this was even while the whole election process was going on. I prayed for Trump. I prayed for Hillary. Now that we know who's in there, it's, I definitely will be praying for Trump in regards of guidance, in regards of mercy, in regards of whomever it is that he surrounds himself with, and the decisions that he makes and everything that he does. At the same time, though, I am going to be watchful and be mindful of what it is that is going on around the way.
Absolutely.
So, like I don't be naive, but bottom line is that I want the best outcome regardless of who's there or not. But I just don't. I mean, I'm just really tripping because Donald basically pulled like I said, he pulled an Ocean's 11 move. I mean, he said, yo, this is exactly how I'm gonna lay it out. Like, he could have just started playing the Elvis music right there and just play it out. Like, he just, whew, he shot a mean move. And I mean, the funny thing is, he said back on Oprah, like, oh, if I was gonna be president, I'm not gonna get involved to lose. So this cat sat back, watched, laid back a plan, and went on ahead and did what he did. Like, this cat shot a move, man, and it just cracks me up. That, like, I mean, not in a funny way, haha, but it's just funny, like, in a jacked up sense. Like, all this cat had to do was flex his emotion, pull on that emotional string, and dudes went ham. Like my man AZ said, I mean, heck, you know what? I might as well apply to head up NASA. Shoot, I want to take Adam Silver's job. I'm about to be the commissioner of the NBA. Like, I'm about to go apply right now. Like, I mean, I might as well. You gonna give commander in chief away like that off of emotions? Then hey, yeah, like, exactly. Like, we might as well go ahead and just throw our application in right now. We can be mayors and all that stuff, relative ease. Then, if that's the case, like, that's what baffles me about all this. And you see how the reaction is going on out here and how people are acting and all that. That's why we react in the way we react and we feel the way we feel about it. It's not just about, but I mean, look, you see white, black, candy stripe, whatever color out here talking about what's jacked up with this. So this is not just the race thing. That's just one of the pieces. But this is real jacked up right here. Like, this is a jacked up selection. I will say this, and I'll throw it to you. I'll throw it back to you, Sim. If Trump came out and he was running his race and he was talking and acting like how he was back in that Oprah segment back in, what was that, 1998 or 89 or whatever that was, I would have been like, I would have let him be like, oh, okay, this dude's bringing something legit he may have something legit to bring to the table, because he was talking about a game plan. He was talking about, like, he was laying out some stuff. So I'm like, okay, all right, like, that's not bad. I'm like, I can digest that. But this here, nah, see, time changes, people can change too. People probably banking on that Donald Trump back then to be the guy now. And we have no clue as to what kind of guy this is going to be, because he disrespected race. He disrespected
women,
people. Yeah, he disrespected women. He disrespected people with disabilities. And now he's sitting there talking about let's all come together and unite and beat all these things. Like, you can't do all that stuff and then all of a sudden think people just going to be cool, and then you want to end it with, let's all unite and let's come together and be peaceful. Wait, whoa, like, hold on a second. You just went on for months on end.
In my face, and now you want me to help you.
Yeah, and now you want us to be cool. See, that's the kind of stuff, man.
Think about this, though. You remember that presidential candidate that Dave Chappelle made fun of? I forgot his name, man. But he was like, pew! And then people...
oh, yeah.
They dropped that. They forgot that man because of that noise. Trump went out here and said, grab him by the pee, and women voted for him.
Yo,
Yes.
I'm gonna just start grabbing them.
Ultimate pimp move.
Hey, I'm gonna be like, you know what I'm here for? Stand still. I'm gonna just start grabbing them. If I get arrested, all I gotta do is be like, let me speak to my president. Man, I tell you. And you know the crazy thing about it, man, too, is like Smitty said, it's not a race thing because you had all types of ethnicities that didn't want him. At the same time, it is a race thing because you look at the rallies, you look at the behavior, by, like I said, just down the street here from my house, white kids running in the hall, calling everybody ninjas and go back to Africa, my guys and all. So they make it a racial thing, right? You don't even have to look at this, but it's also in 13. You look at the real things that was happening in those rallies where you hear Donald Trump himself say, you know what would have happened to somebody like that back when, you know, back in the day when this country was what it was, he would have been beaten. And who's he talking about? Get him out of here. You know what would have happened to a guy like that back in the good old day? What's he referring to, people? And if you need more truth, and, you know, because listen, I don't mind telling the truth, whether people are going to be mad at me or not. Again, if you voted for Trump, I ain't feeling you, dog. Because let me tell you like this. It was other Republicans. Think about that. Other stark Republican, I mean, dudes who bleed Republican, women and men, that was like, ain't no way in the world I'm voting for that guy. Mitt Romney.
George Bush said that.
So that's letting you guys know that we're just talking about him. It ain't just Republican versus Democrat. No, it ain't that we saying we should have voted for Hillary. We all know that Hillary got her stuff too. Right? How they either tried to stand up there at the NCAA thing, Bill and her, and try to say, oh yeah, we were wrong with the mask. And man, whatever. Y'all knew what y'all was doing. But let's be honest. If we got to pick one, you might as well go with what you can expect and then at least change. That was my only beat. If you voted. Now, if you didn't vote, that's on you. If you voted third party, whatever. You got to pick between the two evils. You might as well pick what you know what to expect, and then you know how to move. With him, bro, we don't know. We don't know what he's going to do. Who's going to respect this guy? I'm just saying. And for anybody to act the way he does, and you, like Azure said, how could women vote for him? Man stood up there and I don't remember. You know, he makes fun of this, bruh. Let's be honest. Ain't none of us saints. All of us done been on a school bus and cracked jokes. But come on,
elderly people to I forgot, it was on Facebook. It was some terminally ill people. He said, I need you to go to the polls and vote before you die. He said, I don't care how sick you are. I promise you, it's on. Go on, look it up, Facebook. Trump talks to terminally ill patients. He said, November 8th, I don't care how sick you are. I need you to go vote. And after that, then you can die.
Yo.
This is the president-elect, bro.
My man, you know where he wanted, though? I ain't gonna lie. He provoked anger. For some people, he provoked racism.
Yeah.
And he promised change. Like, he played on change. Because that's the thing. Now, that's what I said about Hillary. Oh, let me say this too, y'all, because I meant to do a video about this and I didn't. Hillary either. You got to give your speech right up. Like, you send an old boy out there to be like, oh, we're gonna wait. And then you knew it was over. Later that night, about 30, 40 minutes later, they conceded the victory. So why did you send your flunky out there? I hate to call my man a flunky, but I'm just using general terms. You send the flunky out there to be like, guys, we're still waiting on the votes. It's about 2 o'clock. Go home. All them people out there to support you, you owed it to them to come out there and give your speech. And it's not a big deal that you waited, but come on. That's sucker stuff right there. Like, that looked like that showed me that you was in your feelings, but you can't do that. These people out here waiting to hear from you. That was whack. You wait till the next day in the afternoon, and it's just like like I said, Hillary, if it would have been Hillary and somebody else, I wouldn't have voted for Hillary. I definitely wouldn't have been promoting her if it was anybody else. But Donald Trump, man, listen, ain't no way. I am not surprised, fellas. I saw this coming from a mile away. In my mind, I was hoping he didn't win, but I was like, I'm gonna tell you right now, the way these people acting. Matter of fact, said one of the illest things of all today. He said, this is what happened. People who voted for Hillary, the people who voted for Donald Trump, guess what he did? He brought 10 of his friends with him, and they all voted. That's exactly what happened. He brought all of these people, the racists and the bigots. I mean, all of these people, and he brought them out, man. And like I said, this is not an attack on an individual race. This to me is an attack on racist people. And like I said, the proof is out there. Because if it wasn't racially motivated, why, like I said, why whenever there's an altercation, why are black people getting called ninjas? What's all of that? Why at those rallies, you know, they F you black, da, da, da. What's all of that? Why can't you just be like, get out of here? You know, this is a Donald's rally. We don't need you. Why I gotta always go to the race thing? That's what I'm saying. He brought this. And have you heard him calm it down? Not once did he say, hey guys, settle it. Not once. Matter of fact, like I said, go check out 13th, man. There's so much for you guys to learn. And I mean, a lot of this stuff I already knew because, yeah, unlike what they really say about certain people of, you know, certain ethnicities, I do read. I'm very educated. So I already knew about all of this craziness. And like what happened during the Dukakis election. I already knew all that stuff. But I'm telling you, go watch that and look at the Donald Trump segment and listen to what them people are saying. He brought them out. He knew exactly what chord to play, and it worked. He's a genius. I give him that. But like I said, that shows us how divided this country is, man. That ain't good. Because you know why? All of us here on the show, and a lot of you guys, we got young kids, man. What's it going to be like with my 3-year-old son when he's 18? That's what concerns me. Now, I will be fair, Smitty and AZ, and I'll say this. Do I know right out that he going to mess things up? I don't. I'm just saying, your track record ain't looking good, bro. So we're going to see. And let me drop another jewel on y'all real quick. Guess who they said that he's considering to be his attorney general? Rudy Giuliani.
Yeah, I heard that.
Wow. Now, for those of you that don't know, go check his history. This dude going to be in your cabinet?
The mayor of New York, former mayor of New York.
Bruh. I'm just saying, your moves ain't making me think that, because let's be honest, I don't even like the way he talks. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need a leader to at least stand tall, and I'd be like, yeah, you know, you sound confident and be a man about yours. Even like George Bush to me was a clown, but he still had more presence than this guy. But even when he did his
He's also a governor of Texas, so
yeah,
he had political experience.
That's what
and came from political family.
Did you hear how
this man is talking about disbanding NATO? Like, are you serious? He's been in talks with Russia to disband NATO, which is what Russia wants.
Man, I'm
like,
telling you.
come on.
Even when
this is a very bad decision.
In his speech, man, when he was like, you know, this is going to be a unite. I mean, you could tell it was a, hey, make sure you say this moment. Not sincere, man. I'm just saying. Remember who said it, guys. Yeah, the video is there. Y'all supporters do not realize what y'all did, man. Because let's say this, even if you are a hateful person, a racist, a prejudice towards other races, and it ain't even gonna work out the way that you think it's gonna work out, because that don't make you no better. But let's just say he does do that. Let's say what you're wanting actually happens. This ain't the 60s, bro. Black people ain't going out like that this time, or other races. It ain't gonna go the way that some of these people think. Bruh, I don't think that's what you like. I'm not preaching this. I'm just saying, I don't think that those people who sick-minded like that, nah, the race war ain't what y'all want right about now. It ain't gonna go down that easy. So that's what I'm saying. We need to chill on this stuff, man, because it could happen. It could very well happen. I already see people rioting. Now, like I said, that's wrong in the black community as well. I don't believe in just like y'all remember, like back in the day with the Rodney King thing, how them black kids pulled the dude out the truck and bashed his head. That man ain't had nothing to do with nothing. So we don't need that either from our black community. I'll be the first to say it as a black man. We don't need that nonsense either. But when you got these people on the other hand calling you ninjas and all of that, I mean, it's not good, man. I worry. I worry a little bit about what's going to happen. And last thing I'm going to say, and then I'll let Smitty and Azure close this out. Whether you agree with Obama or you don't, that man said he's going to take away Obamacare. My question to him is, what's going to replace it? Because whether you agree with Obamacare and all of that, and some people say it costs a lot, blah, 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 but there's like 20 million people that got insurance through Obamacare. So if you take it away, that's what I'm saying. This dude he doesn't tell us his plan. He's just saying, you're going to jail. That was stupid. We're going to abolish the whole thing that Obama. Yeah, but what's your plan though, fam? Like, I need to know what we doing here.
Right.
That's why I'm concerned with him as the president.
And said people didn't even, and people make this thing about Obamacare. You could get that back on your taxes if you filled out the proper form. I'm not on. I don't have it because I have insurance through my job, but you can get that through a tax write-off. I forgot the tax credit name, but people don't even know that, and that's why they were saying that that it was so expensive and all that kind of stuff. It's just it's not a good day. So not a good day.
Yeah, man. Crazy, man. It's a crazy world we live in, man. But Smitty, man, what you got, man? Close us out.
I really don't have anything else. I mean, that was such a sound note, but I will say this. Definitely appreciated everybody who chimed in, from the politic tip like we're talking about right now to the nostalgic gaming, because that was on point. Had ourselves a great discussion, great trip down, nostalgia lane like always. And I mean, for the folks that were able to come on the line, excuse me, and chat with us today, that was also awesome. Appreciate all y'all, and definitely look forward to getting it in again next week.
Mini Nintendo drops what next week?
Oh, that's next week. Oh, bet.
That's
Mini NES.
I can't do it. I can't do it. It's crazy. Can't do it. Yeah, man. That's all I got too. I mean, ain't really much left to say. Yeah. I will say this. A lot of people wanted to know. Yeah, I copped the Pro. I appreciate YouTube for buying that. Selling my other one. I mean, if anybody needs one, holler at me. I already got 4 or 5 people who trying to buy it. Basically, I'm gonna let it go for like $200 with like 4 games. I got digital games that it'll come with Battlefront. What else? UFC 2 and an unopened Need for Speed and an unopened PGA Tour. So if any of y'all are interested, I'll wait a day or so. But I already got other people lining up trying to buy it. But I wanted to say this because people have been asking what's the difference. And listen, I did all of my research, and just because of the resolution and stuff is not the main reason why I bought it. I'll get into that later. didn't really cost me nothing. Like I said, I'm selling mine, and you know, it's fortunate enough to be a somewhat YouTuber, so I had some viewership money to pay for it. I thank all of you guys for that. But like I said, I got my reasons. But I can't really say if it's I'm not one of those technical people. You know, like I've talked to a lot of guys who are, and you know, realistically, even 4K and HDR and all that, I mean, you really got to be really paying attention to notice the differences. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of those things, unless it's on a real big screen or you up close to the TV, it's not like what you're currently playing. Once you see that, you're gonna be like, "Oh, I've got to have it." I don't believe that. I think if you look at it closely, yeah, you'll be like, "Oh, that looks pretty good." But I think if you look to the other screen and see a standard PS4 or a standard Xbox One, it's still gonna look good. So I'll be the first to say, I'm not gonna be the type of person that's gonna sit here and say you should go buy a Pro, you should buy a Xbox One S. No, like I said, I have my reasons, and maybe I'll go into that in another video. Why I did it outside of the fact that, you know, it's, well, I could basically say, I mean, most of the reason why I wanted to, I really needed a bigger hard drive. And I know I could have bought one, yeah. But like I said, since I had the money to buy it and it's not really hurting me, I might as well just do it that way instead of, you know what I mean? Because you're going to spend money buying a terabyte and then you got to put it in and stuff like that. I did want to get prepared for 4K because eventually I'm sure all of these games eventually are going to start running in 4K. Also, me and my wife and I, we're in the market for a 4K TV. So it just all happened at the right time. So I was like, well, why not? You know, I got the means to do it. Why not do it? So, but again, if you're looking for a review from me, I'm not the one. You can search on YouTube. I will say this. I know some people don't always agree with the language and stuff, but a guy like Hard 8 Times, man, check him out. Hard 8, he calls himself the ambassador of 4K. He knows his stuff. He knows his consoles. He knows his PC stuff. I would definitely recommend checking him out. And he has videos up. He got it as well. He's a PC gamer. He's not a fanboy of either PlayStation, Xbox, none of that. He tells it like it is. He goes into the intricate details about native 4K and 1080p, 60, all of that different stuff that I don't really know about. So check him out as my recommendation. There could be others if you really want to know what was the benefit. I think it is going to look better. I'm actually getting some of my games put on it now as the show goes on. And I've heard it's even going to look better even on your current TV. So if you have an LED or an LCD, maybe it's still supposed to look better, performs better, more powerful. And like I said, you know, it's pretty soon here, all of these games are they're going to start coming out like that. So I figured might as well beat the curve. Why not? Well, I can afford to do so. That's why I did it. And I know there's going to be some people that go, "Oh, you're dumb." But people always got something to say about what you do. It don't cost you nothing. So why should it matter to you? So that's all I got. That's our show. And looks like those Browns probably going to lose again. Looks like the Ravens have gone up. But that's all I got, man. Everybody watch some football. Good luck to everybody's team, unless you're a Cowboy fan, and I can't wish you luck this week. But we'll see what happens to the Detroit Lions, Tennessee Titans, and we'll see what these Steelers going to do, man. Oddly enough, this is the type of game that they win. They just can't beat teams at subpar for some reason. I don't know. They drive me crazy. But that's it, guys. We're going to be out. See y'all next week. Thanks for coming. Appreciate all the support. And keep your eyes open, man. Keep your eyes open. Go watch 13 on Netflix. We're in with that. Peace.
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 Grab